Okay, and so this is what? Practice midterm 3? Okay, practice midterm 3. Again, this is sitting on Canvas. I put a practice midterm module up in Canvas now, right? Right? So it should be under there. Okay, and for this first one now, we've got this company, and they're telling us what their total factory overhead is of 32,000. And they tell us, they just come right out and tell us that it includes fixed cost of $12,000. Okay, so if we're sitting here and we're saying that our total overhead cost is what? 32,000, and they're telling us that the variable, excuse me, not the variable, but what? The fixed is sitting here at 12,000. Then the variable's got to be what? 20,000. Okay, good. Now in this example, they tell us that they were producing 8,000 units, weren't they? Okay, so if we take this 8,000 units, that's 8,000 units, and we divide it by the $20,000 of variable cost, that means we have a what? $2.50 cost per unit, don't we? Variable cost per unit. $2.50 of variable cost per unit, right? Okay, so then what? Then they want to know, well, what would the cost be at 9,000? And notice they call out to us again, guys, that term now that we've seen 2 or 3 times now in some of these problems, relevant range, meaning assuming we're not going to have to add another factory to our production in order to accommodate now, instead of 8,000 units, 9,000 units, right? If the thing said they jumped to 50,000 units, we might have to add another factory to this, right? But if they're telling us within the relevant range, we don't have to change our fixed costs at all, we can all produce this in the same factory that we've been running, what would be our total factory overhead? Well, we can go ahead and set this up 250 times what? Times X. I know it's going to be 9,000, but any number of units, right? Just to see how we could apply this regardless. Plus what? Plus my 12,000 of fixed costs is the way this thing is set up. Okay, so now for this specific problem, 250 times how many units now, sir? Tell me again. Times the 9,000. Good. Plus the 12,000 means that we're predicting a total cost here of what? 34,500? Right? Question? Okay, good. So that one's not too bad. Let's go ahead and let's take a look at this one, and then after this one, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over and start asking for some volunteers on some of these. Okay, but which ones are the period costs here? How about administrative wages and salary? How about factory supplies? No. How about administrative salaries and wages? Yep, got to pick that up, so I'm going to pick up the 92,000. Good. How about direct materials? No. How about staff salaries? Sales staff salaries? Yeah, right. I forgot what we're looking for here. We're looking for what? Concentrate, John. We're looking for period cost. How about factory depreciation? How about this corporate headquarters building? Got to pick that up. Good. That's an administrative cost, 47,000. Good. How about indirect labor? No. How about marketing? Got to pick these guys up. That's 136,000. So I add all this up, and do I come to what they're offering me is the correct solution here? Do I come to what, 307? Is that what they want here? For me, the hard part's always getting the mouse and everything to cooperate. That's 307. Okay, good. Did we work this one before? Why am I having deja vu? We did some similar ones? Or did I start on these last time? Oh, did we? We went all the way to number 6? Okay. It's all right. We'll keep going with some of these, okay? All right. So who wants to take the next one? Who wants to volunteer? You want to volunteer to do the next one? You going to come up and do it for us? Okay. There you go. Yeah, if you can. If you feel you can write on the screen, go for it. That way millions of fans can watch this, right? I'm sure YouTube's going to just be crashed by the millions of people wanting to watch this thing, right? You okay to do it that way? Yeah. See that little jump rope thing that I'm always complaining about? Okay. All right, so let's go ahead and do number 3, guys. And remember, the approach here is that you're going to have your colleagues back. If we have to sit here and add something up, the expectation is you're going to help them add it up. Just don't leave them hanging there, trying to add 2 numbers together, that sort of thing. Okay. So this one we're looking for what? Our manufacturing overhead in number 3. What was your name again, sir? Ken. Ken? Okay, so you've already checked off the factory supplies, right? Okay. So that's 7,000. Someone should be pumping into their calculator. Okay. What else do we have?
Direct materials.
We got, huh? Say it again, Ken.
Direct materials.
Direct materials for factory overhead?
Oh, factory overhead.
Okay. Half the problem in these questions for me is to concentrate past the first one, right? I get the first one and then my mind starts wandering. Okay, so we're not going to pick up the direct materials.
No.
How,
Factory depreciation.
got the factory depreciation at 52,000. Good.
Indirect labor.
Got the indirect labor of 23,000. Okay, good.
55, 62.
Nothing else, right? So I'm showing 82,000 on my calculator. Is that right?
Yeah.
There you go. So choice B for number 3. No, we're working number 3 right now. Right? Manufacturing overhead. You're better at that pen than I am. Okay. All right, good. Good job. Okay, so we went ahead and we picked up the ones that were overhead, right? Okay, when you come up, guys, please watch the little jump rope obstacle that they put up here for us because they make this rope so short, this wire so short. Okay? Okay, good. How about the product cost? Who wants to do product cost? You want to do this one? You're in a good mood because the Raiders won Sunday, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so total product cost now, and you're going back up to the list. And why don't you highlight the product cost in yellow? How about that?
Okay.
So you just dip the pen in the yellow. Think of it like, dipping watercolors. There you go.
Okay.
And then you just go ahead and highlight in yellow the what? Product costs. Our product costs, guys, are what? Our product costs are what? Overhead are direct materials, are direct labor, right? Okay. So, oh, wow, this man's quick. So you got your factory supplies, which is overhead, your direct materials, which is one. So we got 7,000 plus what?
7,000 plus 176,000.
Plus 176. 7,000. Probably gonna go faster than me. You got them already?
Yeah.
What do you got there?
340,000.
340,000, which is A?
Yep.
Okay, good. So we got our direct materials, our direct labor, our manufacturing overhead, right? By the way, if you know somebody who is checked out of this class, let them know that I'm going to drop them from the class. Okay? I'm going to just go ahead and drop them. Or I'll send them an email because I noticed a couple people have made the point of not showing up now. So if you know someone who's not showing up, I'm going to drop them from the class. So let them know they don't have to come anymore. Okay, because this was the day you absolutely had to be here for this class, right? Because we were going to sit here and go through this. Okay, good. Good job. Okay. All right, so let's go ahead and let's take a look at number 5. And I'll do this one. Which of the following is an example of an industry that would use process costing? And clearly what? Each can of Pepsi is the same. We don't sit there and start, trying to trace cost to each can of Pepsi. That's a homogeneous item, so we'll use process costing. Item number 6, a manufacturer of luxury yachts, and we did this one, right, is going to use what? Job costing. This is not the canoes, guys. This is what? This is a luxury yacht, so it's going to use job order. Okay? Okay, good. Who's up for number 7? We're looking for the work in progress at the end of the year. Number 7. Number 7. Okay. Okay, so we're getting to a point in this class where I had an expectation that you guys were going to be all over this stuff and be coming up here, and I haven't been really keeping track of attendance, and I haven't really been sitting there and making you, you know, do a whole heck of a lot, frankly, as we've been learning through some of this stuff. But we're going to get into a mode where half the class is going to show up and no one's going to volunteer. I'm going to start bringing the attendance, and I'm not going to give you the 5 points for any of the homework. Because once we get to the point where I ask you to do the homework and I ask you to come up and do it, and you don't do it, that says to me there's no reason for me to give you those points. I can't trust you. So I'm going to have to start getting into doing the attendance, making you do the homework. Maybe I should go ahead and have you all go get the textbook so that you get into Connect, so you start doing homework problems, that sort of thing, right? Is that the mode we're going to be in? No. Okay, then who wants to work this question? You want to go ahead and work this one, John? Try it on here. It's not that bad. You might enjoy working with the pen. Try it. If you don't like it, yes, you can do it on the board. Got to do the jump rope. Okay. All right, good. So we come over and we have this what? We have this, what do they want to know here?
Your work in process.
The work in process. So you want to get back up there and sort of show us the problem a little bit? Just do it like this with the mouse, I think. If we pull the mouse, there you go. Okay. So you should be able to start it anyway like that, and then we can just go ahead and move down as you need to. So how do you want to work this?
So you start with the beginning, which is 29,700.
Okay, good. You pick up the beginning work in progress, 29,700.
And then you add the total cost.
You want to add the manufacturing cost for the period?
Yeah.
Is that what you're telling me? So why don't you do a little side thing if you don't mind? Just right here, you can go ahead and you can start putting the ads, which are going to be your man costs for the period. So you can just label it man cost, manufacturing cost, whatever. Okay, good. And so your manufacturing costs are going to be what?
77,000 times 130%.
Okay, that's your overhead.
Yeah.
Can you label that overhead? Just put OH there. Okay, good. So we've got 77,000 times what?
130.
Times 130% or 1.3 is going to give us for our overhead 100,100. Okay, good. Actually, you're pretty good at the pen. It's neater than mine. I should have you do this every class. Okay, then what? Then we're going to go ahead and pick up what?
Direct material, direct labor.
Okay, so you got some direct materials up there.
So that's 51,000 minus 4,500.
Good. 51,000 minus 4,500 because the problem told us that the what? 4,500 of it was indirect, right? And we only pick up the direct because we're applying the overhead, right? Okay. So good. That's going to be 46,500. Good. Direct labor, they told us was, they just came right out and told us it's 77,000, right? Okay, why don't you write it underneath, yeah, so just write 77,000 so we see the whole thing totaling up. Good. Okay, good. So you're going to add those three. Does a colleague have a total for Jarna here? No? You guys are just watching, this is the movies? What is this? 223,600? Okay, good. So, Jarna, you're going to do what with that? Good. You're going to add that 223,600. Thank you, Omar. Okay, and then they tell us the what? Oh, we need to figure out the end, don't they? The ending amounts in this one? Okay.
Wait, and then you subtract the cost of goods manufactured, right?
Cost of goods manufactured gets transferred out of work in progress and into Finished goods, doesn't it?
Yes.
Okay, good. So you pick that number up, you subtract that out, and you get an ending balance of what? 30,300?
Yes.
Okay, good. And make that look more like a 3 underneath there. Like I should talk about sloppy writing. Okay, good. And put some parentheses around that S, the subtract, just so we remember we subtract that. Good. Beautiful. And you were afraid to use the pen. Good job.
I prefer
You prefer the board. Watch it. Watch. You prefer the board, I know, but then nobody can see what you did. And so if somebody's watching this, they'll say, I wish you had used the pen. So, okay, good. Uh-huh. Cost of material purchased was essentially a distractor here if they hadn't given us that information about the raw materials. Okay, so if they were sitting here and if we were sitting here and we were having to calculate the amount of materials that were used, did they gave us the beginning balance of the raw materials? They did give us the beginning balance of raw materials. Okay, and if they were asking me, do they give me the ending balance of raw materials?
Wait, does it matter then?
It doesn't, but I'm just trying to say what we would have done with it if they did. But you're right, it doesn't matter. They don't give me the ending balance of raw materials, right? Okay, let's say this question asked me. Maybe there was another question that leveraged off this same set of facts. It said, what's the ending balance in raw materials? I'd need that number, wouldn't I? Right? So I would sit there and I would say for raw materials, if I was analyzing that, I'd say beginning balance in the raw material they gave me to be what? 14,500. Good. Okay, thank you. And then what? Then the ads for the period is the purchased. So the purchased is what? 68,000 here. Okay, and then what? Then they told me the cost of materials requisition, and now I take the whole amount. It doesn't matter which amounts were direct or indirect because I'm trying to come up with the ending balance here. And so I'd go ahead and I'd subtract 51,000, and that would give me an ending balance in the raw materials of how much? 31,000 what? 500? 500? Okay, so there probably was another question that I didn't pull here that was asking what's the ending balance in raw materials, and then you would have needed that number. But you don't need it here because we're just trying to get the raw materials that were added to direct to work in progress, which was just the direct portion, right? And that's why Jarna subtracted off that 4,500, whatever. Okay. Okay, good. Now we're on fire. Let's go ahead and let's take a look at the next one here. Which one are we on now? 8. Okay, good. Who wants to do 8? I've got 2 volunteers. I think the man with the red shirt was up first. We'll get you on the next one. What was your name again, sir? Pavan. Okay, Pavan. So you want to come up and you want to watch that string, watch that trip wire. You ever heard the term trip wire? There it is, okay? All right. So what are they asking us for here, Pavan?
The total actual manufacturing overhead.
We want the actual, okay? Right?
Yeah.
Is that what you said? So can you go ahead and underscore the word actual there, just so we know what we're doing? Okay, there you go. Actual. We're looking for the actual. So what are you going to do with that? What items make up my actual?
You want me to underline them or something?
Yeah, go ahead. You can circle them. Or why don't you, circle them and write them. So you got depreciation, so just write down that 65,400. Or if you want to circle them all first, you can. However you want to do it. 65,400, good. Then you got the factory utilities of 30,200. Beautiful. Then we've got what? The indirect labor, good. That's 22.4. Okay, any other ones?
The factory rent.
Factory rent of 47,000. Yeah, the thing goes nuts when you try to move it. There you go. You can just leave it there. 47,000 for the rent. It was 47,000 for the rent, wasn't it? Huh? 47,700. Gee, sometimes we forget that last part. I was just complaining that I keep doing that. It's driving me nuts that I keep forgetting those last numbers. Okay, good. Anything else?
The factory property taxes.
Property taxes, good. Got to pick that up. Anything else?
Indirect materials.
Good. 33,000. Okay, good. And then colleagues, you got a total for those numbers? 226,800, you say?
Yes.
Huh?
I got 800 also.
226,800. We have a second. Okay. Just looking. We're good? Okay, so is that the answer to what? D?
Yeah.
Okay, why don't you bubble that? Just so we get the positive reinforcement and don't trip over the tripwire. Good job. Omar, we're good now? Okay. Ready for the next one? Okay, come on up. On, please don't trip. And I'm going to hide the answer a little bit just so it doesn't ruin the fun for you. Right?
Yep.
Okay, so go ahead and take a look at this one now. And now we're looking for what? The predetermined manufacturing overhead rate?
Yep.
Okay, so set that up for me. What's the formula for that? What's in the numerator?
Estimated manufacturing
Good.
divided by estimated cost.
Estimated cost here, which we're saying they're using what? The direct labor cost as the base? Okay, good. So you don't have to write that down then if that's what we're going to set up. So do you have the estimated manufacturing overhead here?
Yes.
Go ahead and put that down. Why don't you circle it up there in the table? Good. You guys are good, see? I mean, you new generation, you're good with all this electronic stuff. I'm the one that has the trouble with it. And what? And then you're going to go ahead and you're going to divide that good by the estimated direct labor cost. The dollars are the driver here, right? Okay. Okay, good. So you're going to go ahead and get the predetermined manufacturing overhead rate by taking the 243,750 and dividing it by the 325,000. And what are you going to get here? 75%. Everybody's going to work for you guys one of these days, right? Since they sit back and let you do all the work now, they'll do all the work later, right? Okay. All right, so that's 75%?
Yes.
Okay, excellent. Good job. Please don't fall. Good job. Okay, so we're moving along now through this exam. Going to be similar to what you're going to see on the exam day. So if you're tracking with all this, you're in pretty good shape. So let's go ahead now and see that they ask us. You want to do the next one, Omar? Okay, come on up. You know, they say allocated here. Better word would be what? Don't fall. Better word would be applied, wouldn't it? Okay, okay, but go ahead and Omar, knock that one out for us.
So, should I just, okay, so we get this number.
right?
These numbers.
And
Should we write it?
that was what An just gave us. Okay, go ahead, do the whole thing, even though we just did this, but that's all right. Yeah, 750,000 divided by the 325,000, as An just showed us for the previous problem, is 0.75. Good.
To multiply it by 320,000.
Good. We're going using our direct labor cost, so we have the 0.75. And notice we picked up the what? Actual direct labor cost, right? Did you get that? Okay, good. So you take that 0.75 times the 320,000, and that gives you what? 243,750?
No, 240,000.
Oh, 240,000? Okay. Okay, good. So that's D. Okay, nice. Good job.
Writing it.
Yeah, it's not too bad. Don't fall, please. Yeah, it's not too bad. It's just sometimes, I don't know, it wants to jump the screen on me and I get nervous. But you guys are good. Okay, good. Good job. Not that I'm sitting here doing a commercial for the Surface. This is a Sony computer, but the Surface Pen works much better with the Sony computer than the Sony Pen does. The Sony Pen is awful. The Surface Pen works better. So, okay, now this one I did not notice when I first put this problem up here that there was a situation where we had a little bit of a difference from what we had talked about previously, and that you notice we have what? We have a high level of activity here. See the administrative cost here? But that's not the, high level of cost, but that's not the high level of activity. Okay, so when you run into that situation, what you need to do is you need to pick up the what? The high level of activity drives what we're doing. Okay, so even though we have a higher cost, we focus on the high level of activity for the high here. Okay, so that's our high. The reason it's working a little different than what we talked about is, remember, these lines are not what? This cost is not behaving in a linear fashion. And so what this is telling me is some of my fixed costs are not necessarily fixed. Some of my fixed costs actually have a little bit of a variable component to them. And if that's the case, then I'm not always going to have the situation where my high level of activity is exactly my high level of cost, because some of what I'm treating as fixed costs may actually be somewhat variable to a certain extent. And so no costs behave exactly like we're talking about here with the line. And so what you would do is you would follow the high level of activity, not the cost, to identify your high. And same thing with the low. Okay? Some costs, we treat them as fixed, but they may not necessarily be fixed. There may be a variable component to it. Okay? So we won't do this on your test. I didn't realize when I looked at this one that it had that little wrinkle to it. I took this one from a cost accounting textbook that got a little bit more sophisticated in how they were having us do this. But we would follow the high level of activity. So we've got the high now, don't we? Using the activity. Okay, and if we're going to use the high-low method to sit here and come up with our cost equation, who wants to do this one? You want to do this one? Okay, come on up. Hi. Okay, and don't trip over this little thing here. You got to do one of these numbers, and then you can come on over and use the pen and do the high-low method. So we've got the high month. Can you find the low month? Why don't you highlight it? And I'm going to suggest that you bring your highlighter to class, guys, so that if you get a question like this, you can sit there and highlight the high and the low months. So what's the low month here? What's your name? Veronica, what's the low month?
August.
August is the low month. Good, 115. And then just stay right there where you're at and go ahead and what are you going to try to do? Figure out the variable cost first here?
Yeah, so you do.
So you can go ahead and dip back in the pen. Just dip one of them pen colors, whatever your favorite color is. Okay, and then go ahead and now you should be able to write with it. So we're going to take the 22,580, which is the high level of cost, minus what? Minus the 82,613, which is our low cost at our low level of activity, right? And we're going to divide that by the 1392 high level of activity minus the 115 low level of activity, and that, doing the math now, is going to give us what? 111 point what? 956 roughly. 955. Okay. Okay, whatever. Okay, good enough, close enough for government work. Okay, good. Nice job. You want to scroll down and see if you have that answer? It's good to use the mouse. Yeah, you can do it there, or use the mouse. There you go. Either way, you got it. So go ahead and bubble that in. Good. Nice job. Variable cost per credit hour. Please don't fall. We don't want your reward for doing a good job. You can go this way. Okay, good. Nice job. Okay. All right. Who wants to do this next one, number 12? If the controller uses the high-low method to estimate cost, what is the fixed portion? Did I see another hand for this last one? Oakland A's fan, you want to do this one? Why don't you come around this way? Did the A's win last night? Did they play? Yes, they did. So no, they didn't win. Okay. All right. So why don't we go ahead and take a look at this one now? And now we're asking for the fixed. Did I jump? No. Yeah, we're okay. Now we're looking for the fixed, aren't we? Okay. So why don't you set up how you're going to think about that? Fixed cost equals what?
High cost minus the variable cost.
Total cost. Why don't you write TC? I think I understand what you meant, but write TC there. Total cost minus what? Minus the variable cost, right? Equals fixed cost, right?
Don't you have to multiply the credit hours?
Well, you do, but we didn't say variable cost per unit. Total cost minus variable cost equals fixed cost, right? Okay, good. Now, are you a high person or a low person? You're a high person? Okay, so go ahead and then set it up if we're using the high level of cost, which was what? 225,580. Okay, good. Just hit that eraser, and then just erase it just like an eraser. You kind of rub it on there. Okay, and then 225,580. Good. Minus 111.96 is my variable cost per unit, and at the high level of activity, how many units did I have? 1392. Good. So you can go ahead and multiply that times the 1392 units, and does that give me the $69,731.68? Team? Okay, good. Nice job. Huh? It's a little hard to use because it wants to jump on you, and you got to treat it like it's a baby. Okay? All right, good. Nice job. So I'm going to do this one. Just looking now at the line that we have set up, the formula that we've set up, whatever the equation that we've set up, it's 111.96 times what? Times whatever the number of units are, and we can now do this for any number of units, plus what? Plus the fixed cost of $69,731, and I guess we care about those 68 cents, right? And we can do this for any level of activity now, can't we? Okay. So what happens if we have a level of activity of 1,000? Who wants to come up and do that one right here? You want to do this one? Okay, come on up. Watch the tripwire. And go ahead and set that one up for 1,000 hours now. Well, I didn't think you needed to scroll to see where the solution was. 11,196.96 times what? Times the 1,000 hours that they want plus the what? $69,731.68 of fixed cost. Okay, and that gives you that 181,692. Okay, good. And round it up. Okay, is this that one? Okay, good. Good job. Don't fall. Nice job. What's your name? Huh? Poe? Good job, Poe. Okay. All right, good. What was your name, sir, with the A's hat? Huh? Fishlin? Christian? Good job, Christian. Okay, good. Okay, they say which of the following is a difference between variable cost and fixed cost? And they tell us here that variable costs per unit are fixed over the relevant range, whereas fixed costs per unit are what? Variable. This sounds like something that an accountant says to you just to throw you off track, right? Okay. But what are we saying here? Well, we're sitting here and we're saying that if we produce 100,000 units, we have $100,000, I should say, fixed cost, and we produce 1 unit, our fixed cost per unit, not a trick question, is how much? $100,000, right? If we advance to what? To produce now, our fixed cost total will remain the same. But now we pick up 2 units. Now my fixed cost per unit is what? Is 50,000, isn't it? So the fixed cost per unit indeed is varying by the number of units, isn't it? Meanwhile, our variable cost, regardless of the number of units we produce, what is going to still be that, just leveraging off that previous problem, it was $111.96 for any number of units we produced, right? So the variable cost per unit stayed fixed, didn't it? Okay. All right, good. Who wants to do number 16 now? Who wants to do 16? You want to do the 16? Okay. So why don't you come on up and do 16 then? This one's a little bit of a bear, right? It's got a couple different layers to it. You can do it any way you like. You can do it wrong order, right order. What I'm going to do first is make it a little bit smaller so that you can see. It's kind of hard to see the whole problem up here. Okay, I think that helps a little bit. Not that much though. Okay, and then if you want to, you can. Let's see. View. I want to go back to one page. One page, please. And then let me go ahead and just make this a little bit bigger. You don't like to work the pen? You just write. Yeah, you just take this and you write with it using the pens. Okay. What color do you like? Red? You want- Okay. Okay. Okay, good. So let's go ahead and let's see what we're looking for here now. We are looking for, it's a little hard to see up on the screen, guys, so you might want to check out your personal
We're
computer,
looking
whatever.
for cost of goods manufactured.
Cost of goods manufactured, which is the subtract from work in progress for the period.
The, your net,
Co-
cost of goods manufactured is your finished goods.
Is the amount that comes out of work in progress, gets subtracted from work in progress, gets added to finished goods, right? Right? Okay, good. So you're going to analyze the finished goods.
For January. Finished goods January 1st was 25, okay, so we go work in progress. Was 235.
You might need to write a little bit more in towards the words there because if it spills off the edge, it doesn't let you write. So you can just go ahead and write more on that side.
Okay. So,
Yeah, there you go.
work in progress, 235.
Okay, so we're going to analyze work in progress has a beginning balance of 235. Good.
Add direct materials.
Going to add our direct materials. Okay, that's the beginning balance in direct materials. We want the direct materials added for the period, don't we?
Pardon?
We want the direct materials added for the period.
Right, okay.
So you're going to have to analyze direct materials, right?
January 31st, right.
Okay.
124. 135, you add direct materials, subtract.
Okay, direct materials is kind of a monster. Okay. Let me do direct materials. I'll do it over here on the board. Okay, because direct materials is a little bit tough to come up with in this problem. It's a bit of a monster. Okay, because what's going to happen? First, let's think through. We're going to have our work in progress for the period that we're going to analyze. We're going to figure out the beginning, the ending. We're going to want to figure out the subtract because the thing asked me for what? The cost of goods manufactured, right? Which is the amount transferred out of work in progress to finished goods, as you said a minute ago. Okay, so, but I've got to analyze raw materials here to get the amount of raw materials that were added to work in progress, because my direct materials is going to be my add to work in progress is going to be my direct labor, my what? Manufacturing overhead, and my direct materials. But I can't get direct materials unless I analyze raw materials, right? Right? So raw material has a beginning balance. I'm going to help you with raw material, and then you can go from there. Raw material has a beginning balance of what? 134,000. It has an ending balance of how much? 124,000, right? Okay, so I'm just going to analyze now raw materials, and I'm going to try to figure out here the subtract to raw materials, because that subtract to raw materials is going to go to my work in progress, isn't it? Okay, and we're calling it raw materials. It's really direct materials that we're analyzing, because if we were just talking about raw materials, could be indirect materials as well, right? But
Beginning. Okay, so that would be $10,000 for direct materials. Because you had your beginning and your ending was
wait a minute,
124.
we have to get the ads because they purchased some raw materials, right?
Okay.
Huh? Okay, well they purchased 189,000, but did they return any? Good. They returned 1,000, didn't they? So we got to take the 1,000 off. Okay, what about this transportation in? Accounting BA 101A meets BO 101B.
Add it.
Huh? We're going to have to add it, right? The transportation in is part of the cost of the cost of my inventory, isn't it? Okay. Okay, so you go ahead and okay, let me see what we got going here. Let me see. Let me see the pen for a second. Okay, I think we don't want that. Maybe if we hit back, it'll go away.
I split the screen somehow.
Yeah, let's see. There's probably a way to change this back.
Is it from down here? No?
Let's see. Sorry.
Over there.
Yeah. Let's see. I don't know why this useless vile paper thing I should just uninstall. How do I get out of this? Escape maybe? No. Come back to this. No. How do you close this stupid thing?
Maybe you hit the side of it.
Options.
See down here? And just drag it that way.
Oh, okay, thank you. Be gone. Okay. Be gone, oh demons in the computer. Okay. All right, thank you. Okay. All right, so what's happening? I'm sitting here, and this problem is telling me that I had the transportation in. So what do I do with the transportation in? I add the transportation in for 3,000. And so once I add the transportation in of 3,000, now we have how much? 191,000, don't we? Okay. So isn't that the add over here? The amounts I purchased for the period? Right? Okay, good. That gives me then a subtotal. What's the subtotal? Huh? 325,000 is the subtotal? Okay, good. And then I sit here and I say, well, what was the subtract? How did I get from 325 to 124? And what I always do is I just go ahead and do another little side calculation over here. I subtract off the ending from the total amount available, and that gives me what? 201,000. So the what? The amount of direct materials that must have been added to work in progress. It was the amount that was subtracted from direct materials, right? Okay. And so now I've got that direct materials one, don't I? 201,000. Okay. And now this should be pretty easy for you, right? From here. So we want to get the total adds to work in progress is what you're trying to get?
Yeah.
Okay. So we got our overhead. Our direct materials is 201,000. Good.
And then we need direct labor.
Direct labor, good. Which they tell us down there is what, 300,000?
300,000.
Okay. Okay, good. We got our direct labor, 300,000.
And then factory overhead.
Good. You can go on to the next page. Just put OH down there, right onto the top of that next page. Yeah, there you go. Right on the top of that next page. Right on OH for overhead. Just right there on the top of it. There's the page.
Here?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's at 60% of the direct labor.
Right. So OH. You want me to put this back in tablet mode for you?
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, good. So OH, the top of that next page. Right there. Just write OH.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. OH.
Right. I think you had to dip the pen back. Yeah, there you go. Overhead is going to be what?
300,000.
300,000. Good. Times
60%.
Times the 60%. Good. That's 180,000.
That I can't do in my head, I'm sorry.
That's all right.
I'll take your word for it.
Right? 300,000 times 0.6, right, will give us 180,000.
Yeah.
Okay. So we've got our manufacturing overhead now, don't we? Okay. So the total adds to my work in progress for the period is how much?
480,
My total adds to the work in progress is how much?
681.
681,000. Okay, so we have 681,000 is the total adds. The beginning balance they told us was what?
Beginning balance was 235,000.
235,000. Okay, good. Okay, so what's our subtotal here?
961.
961 is the subtotal. Are you guys all here still? 961 is the subtotal? Okay, good. And the ending balance, huh? Okay, we'll try again. And then the ending balance is how much?
Oh, ending balance was 124. I'm sorry, 251.
251,000.
Mm-hmm.
Omar, you good now on that 961?
No, I got 916 also. Yeah, I got 916 also.
I transpose? Yeah.
Let me double check my calculation that I wrote down earlier. Yeah, it's 916. Sorry, guys. 916? Okay. 916. 916,000. Thank you, Omar, for sticking with your calculator. Okay, so that's 916,000. So how do we get from 916,000 down to 251?
Subtract the
So 916,000, right? And I always do a little side calculation for this part minus the 251. What's that come to?
665.
685,000?
665.
655,000?
665.
665? Okay. Okay, good. 665,000? Okay, good. And so that must be the subtract here, right? And that 665,000 subtract from work in progress had to go to finished goods, didn't it? Which is our cost of goods manufactured, which was the answer to this question. So that one's a little monstrous, right? That one's a little hard in that, good job. Not only did you have to back into some of these, but you had to do this whole little thing over here to figure out the amount that was purchased for the raw materials. Right? So you had a couple of 3 hoops you had to jump through. Now, there are a couple questions like that on the midterm. Okay, not a lot, but you could run into something where they're going to make you jump back through a couple of hoops to get to whatever it is they're asking you for on that question. So this one I took from the CPA exam. Okay, so when you start working questions at this level, you're working, professional exam type questions. Okay, and there are a couple that they do have as part of your. Okay. How about property taxes? Property taxes. Fixed? Huh? Why are they fixed? Did you ask me why they're fixed? Oh, they don't. It's fixed cost. They don't fix product costs. Oh, I see product costs, right. Fixed product costs. They don't change over the range, relevant range, right? Okay. Okay, good. So now we got another high-low method question here for Hagler's toupees. You want to do this one? Okay, come on up. Please don't fall. There you go. Okay. And we're going to use the high-low method for this guy, Hagler's toupees. And notice, guys, unlike the other one where we walked you through and we said, give us the variable, give us the fix, here's the number of units, give us the total. Now we're sort of expecting you to know that if you see this and we ask you the total, that you're going to be able to figure out what the variable, the fixed, add in the number, bring in the number of units to come up with the total estimated at this level of production, right? So this one, you're still having to do all those same steps that we did before, but you're only going to get credit for what? The final answer. So if you hit the pens for a second, just hit pens. Oh, okay. You got the pens. Okay. So you're going to pick up the, what's your name?
Edeni.
Huh?
Edeni.
Edeni, you're going to pick up the high and the low, right? So it looks like we've got a low. No? Huh? Okay.
This one, sorry.
It's okay. I get so jealous when you guys are good at the pen. Okay. So we got what? We got the high and the low. Okay, so there's my high month. Good. Where's my low month? October's high and what? September is low. Okay, good. Remember, guys, to bring a highlight or something with you for the test, because once I can find the high and the low, and then if I don't mark it somehow, then I can never find it again. I got to start all over again, right? Okay. Okay, good. So we're going to come up with our variable cost per unit by taking the high, 15,500, minus the what? The low, which is 11,500. Okay, good. So we get a difference there, and then we're going to do the same thing with the number of units here, or machine hours, I should say, which is, oops, wait a minute. Wait. Yeah, we got this flipped, okay? So go ahead and erase that for a second. Okay, good. So remember our what? Our actual cost, our dollars are always, when I shouldn't say dollars because sometimes we could have dollars as our driver as well, right? Okay, but definitely we have to have the dollars in the numerator, which is going to be our overhead production cost, right? Good. So we got the 12,080 minus the 9,580. Good. Now we've got our cost, our y's, right, in the numerator, and then we put our x's in the denominator, which is the machine hours in this case, 15,500 minus 11,500. Nice. Okay. So we get a variable cost per unit of how much there? 0.625. Okay, great. Thank you, sir. Okay, good. So now we know our variable cost, and so now we're going to get our fixed cost, and you're going to use the high or the low?
The high.
You're going to use the high, so you're going to say that the 12,080 minus our what? Our variable cost at the high level of activity is 15,500, I guess, right? Good. And that's going to give us our fixed cost of 2,392.5. Okay, nice. All right, good. And so now we can set up the equation for our total cost. Look at that. She's a champ. 2, 3.
Sorry, my handwriting is really rough.
No, that's great. Compared to me, that's great, right? 2,392.50, our fixed cost plus what? Plus our variable cost times how many units? Good, 14,000 units. Nice. Okay, and that gives us now what? 11,142.5. Okay, good. So that's our total cost, isn't it? And That's what we wanted here. Okay, good. Good. Nice job. Very good. Thank you. Good job. Okay. All right, good. So this problem was more comprehensive in that once we got the total cost, then you had to go to the next question, and the next question now started to ask for what? The predetermined overhead rate, right? So if you didn't get the first one right, you'd have trouble getting the second one right, right? Okay. You want to try? Who wants to try the next one? You want to try this one? Yeah. You made eye contact for more than 30 seconds, you get called on to do the next one. Okay? All right? So please don't trip over the tripwire. There you go. So we're going to do what here?
Well, I need the total cost, but I don't have to do the math again, right?
Right, no, you don't have to do the math again. You got the total cost that we just calculated, which was 11,142.50. Oops, that's all right. Just hit that VIO screen again. That little screen right there. Just hit that. It'll come back. Okay. The problem is if you touch the screen, it's only people with magnetic personality that have that problem, right? You don't have to actually touch the screen. The screen feels you and it just moves. I'm saying that because I always do that. Okay, so good. So you have that $11,142.50 divided by the 14,000 machine hours gives us, there you go. Give me that big, long, irrational number, 0.79489, which is 80 cents, right? Okay, good. Nice job. Thank you. Okay. What was your name? Isa? Lisette? Lisette. Okay, good job, Lisette. Okay. All right, good. So now we got that 80 cents, and we sit here, and they tell me that the actual machine hours are what? 13,700. Who wants to give me the applied? You want to do the applied, sir? Watch the little jump rope session. Okay, and then you want to go ahead and give me the applied. What's your name?
John.
John, nice name, John.
Thanks.
Okay.
Oh, you too.
Jon or Joh?
Jon.
Oh, okay.
Jonathan, but.
Oh, I see.
John.
Okay.
All right,
The
so
H is a waste of a letter, right? It doesn't do
just
anything.
waste space.
Yeah,
Especially on the tax form and everything.
exactly.
All right, so if I'm correct, total or the cost. How do I scroll up?
You scroll up, you can use the mouse.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay, so you wanted to pick up the number, that irrational number that she gave us?
Yeah.
That 0.79? You can just write it right. Yeah, there you go. Perfect.
So it's
0.79589. Call me, I'm up in the club.
yeah, pretty much. And then you multiply.
Is that a 510? Okay, never mind. 79589, right?
And then you multiply that by 13,700.
Good, times the number of machine hours, right? And that's a 0.79589, right? John?
Huh?
That's a 0.79. Give me the decimal.
0.79.
Yeah, give me that decimal. There you go. Okay, good. So that's 0.79589 times 13,700.
That's
$10,903.75, you're saying?
Yes.
And that is, okay, that's fine. And that is closest to 10,904, isn't it? Okay, good.
Yeah, because I tried it with the point 0.8 and it gave me I think like $60 more or something like that.
Yeah, it's a little bit off if you used the point 0.8. On the exam, there would never be a choice that's saying, well, can you round it? Did you round it? You know, there's never one that's going to be in question as possibly being the right answer if you didn't use the irrational. Or if you rounded and the problem didn't want you to round and you got a different answer, it'll be close, the best closest answer. And if you run into a problem when you're taking the exam and you're sitting there saying, geez, I don't understand what's going on here with this. Why am I getting a different number? Who do you ask? You come and you ask, huh? You go ask Ghostbusters, and when they don't answer, then you can go ahead and you ask me. You don't ask your neighbor, hey, what did you get for this one? Okay? Did you want to try the next one? Yeah, or did you have a question? Well, you can try the next one then, since you already started out on your way up here. Now, this next one, I'm going to just tell you right out of the gate, I highlighted the wrong letter here. The Raiders must have scored a touchdown when this happened. Or the other team maybe scored a touchdown against them, and I wasn't watching close enough what I was doing. So I have highlighted the incorrect answer here. Okay? Okay? So I've highlighted the incorrect answer, but that's good because on the test you have to figure out the answer. Oh, this is similar to the test, but the answers won't be highlighted, right, on the test. So, yeah. Because if I do, the dean of the business school will, have me standing on the unemployment line. That's why. Okay. Okay. So we've got what? We've got our good manufacturing overhead, and we've got the actual and the applied. Good. And so you're telling me that the applied is this 10,904, right? Good. And you're telling me that the actual is this 11,240 the problem told you, right? So are we under or over applied? We're under applied by what? By 336. So the answer here is not C, but it is what? D. Why don't you bubble that in for me? Or whatever. Circle it and strike out. Put a big mark through that C. Good. I messed that one up. Thank you for correcting my error. Okay? Good. So, Omar, as a result, what's your name? Omar. No, the lady. I'm sorry. Huh? Say it again. Lenika? Lenika? Okay, thank you, Lenika. Okay. Okay. So, Omar, as a result of this, okay, what should happen to my cost of goods sold if I determine that this is not material? So my cost of goods sold should be what? It's going to increase my cost of goods sold by the what? Under applied, right? Yeah, so not only, now I can't really even plead that I wasn't paying attention, I just accidentally highlighted the wrong one. I was clearly confused by my own question, wasn't I? Right? You do not decrease cost of goods sold. If it's under applied, we have to do what? Increase it, don't we? See how easy it is to lose concentration on something like this? Okay. All right, good. So we come over, and now, what time do you guys want to take a break? We'll take a break after this, after we finish this string of questions. Okay. So we come over, and what happens? Mr. Trump wants us to produce a toupee for him, right? Okay. And so since we're going to go ahead and produce this toupee, what is the cost of this toupee? How much does he have to pay? Get it? Okay. Okay. So, again, if my jokes were any good, guys, usually with my jokes, you understand them on the way home. You're going, oh. Okay, so how much will he have to pay for this? Well, we already said he has to pay $20,000, doesn't he? Okay, but how much is the cost of it? Who wants to do this? The cost of this toupee. How about this table back here? Give you guys a chance back here. This table's Oh no, actually, I already had one person, so I guess it's not quite the shutout table. Okay. Okay. So go ahead and do this one. This is the shutout table. We're gonna put this table up here in a minute. Okay. So, huh? You want to go up? You go up by just kind of scrolling the mouse up like that. Okay. You can go up as far as you need to.
So the predetermined overhead rate is 80 cents or 7,959.
Right. So we got the predetermined overhead rate of about 80 cents. Good.
So you times that by the machine hours?
Times that by the machine hours, which were 100. Okay. 100 times 0.8, it's going to be 80 bucks.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
And then you just add the 12 and 1 to get 13.
Okay, we take the direct materials plus the direct labor is 13 plus the 80 gives us a cost for this toupee of 1380, right? Point 0.8 is the predetermined manufacturing overhead rate that this toupee factory is using, right? It was in the previous problem. It was using the same facts as question 21. So you had to know there was that 0.79 blah blah. We can just use the rounded number here, 0.8, right? Okay, you want to do the next one since you're up here?
Sure.
Okay, so how much does Trump have to pay for this toupee?
We paid 20,000.
Is that how much people pay for toupees?
Presidential.
I think they do.
Overpaid.
Huh?
He definitely overpaid.
He paid overpaid for his toupee. Okay, minus what? I think it's a pretty good toupee myself because I look at that thing and I can't figure it out. I just sit there and look at Trump, study Trump's toupee. And I'm like, how is that working? It's going forward, it's going back, it's twisting around. It's pretty good. If it confuses you that much, you're in good shape, right? Okay. Okay, so we have 20,000 minus what?
The cost?
The cost, and so we have a gross profit on this of
6920.
6920. Good. Accounting, business 101A meets 101B, right?
Yeah, the cost.
Okay. All right, nice job. Good job. What's your name, sir?
Robert?
Robert? Good job, Robert. Okay. Why don't we go ahead take what? You want 10 or 15? Okay, dumb question, right? So we'll make it 11:30 and we'll come back and we will, using that clock back there, and we will pick up and continue this on. Okay, guys? And I'm going to hand out the sign-in sheet after we come back. Look for a volunteer for what? Question 25 now? Okay, so who wants to do 25? Want to do 25, sir? Okay, come on up. What's your name, sir? Huh? Griswan? Okay, Griswan, come on up. And please make sure you sign in. Okay. Sorry, the pen's back there. It's magnetic. It actually kind of wants to stick to the computer. Okay. Okay, good. So we've got this set of information that we're going to use for the next two jobs. And they're giving us some information about these different jobs. And they want us for this 20, you can kind of scroll down, I guess, for 25, they want us to figure out the predetermined overhead allocation. Again, they're saying allocation. It should be what? Application, how we apply it, okay? Rate, so how do you want to do that one?
So you divide the estimated overhead cost
Okay.
with the direct labor cost.
Okay, by the direct labor cost, we're using cost as the driver, right?
Yeah.
So whatever our estimated is in the numerator, whatever our driver is, could be number of units, like machine hours, whatever, could be what? Could be the actual cost, right? Okay, and that gives us a rate of this 200%.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Why don't you go ahead and do the next one since that one's so easy. Okay, so if you want to go ahead and figure out what for job 201, if you kind of scroll back up a little bit, thank you. For job 201, you've got, and you can write it right there, okay? You've got your direct materials, right, 350. Why don't you write that in? Good, and then you've got your direct labor of 200, and then how do you want to do your overhead?
I believe you add another 200 and then you times it by the 200%.
Right, so that's going to be 400, right?
Right.
$200 times 200% is 400.
And then that should be up to 950.
Okay, so you want to just go ahead and add that plus the, why don't you just show it, 200 times the what, 200%? Good is 400, and that gets you the 950. Okay, good, nice. You guys are good with the pen, man. Okay, so then you go ahead and you can scroll down. And we get the 950 as our answer, don't we? Okay, which is answer B. So why don't you go ahead and bubble B in so that we get the nice positive feedback of bubbling it in. There you go. Okay, nice. Good job. Thank you. Okay. All right. Who wants to do 27? Table of non-participation. Who wants to do number 27? You want to try 27? Okay. All right. Why don't you come on up then? Try 27. And 27 is asking for what? The estimated overhead application rate. Okay. Is probably a better term. So how do you want to set that one up? What's going to be in the denominator? I'd use the pen, it's a little easier. You just use the pen, you can just write like a regular pen. Okay, so what's going to be the denominator?
This one.
The 25,000, right? Is what we're using? Okay, good. So you can kind of write that off to the side. You know you got to have that as the denominator, 25,000. Okay, good. And then you just got to pick up what? The numerator, and instead of just giving it to us in one big number, we're going to have to sit here and pick out which ones are overhead, right? And you've already circled what? Indirect labor? Okay. So why don't you write that 50,000, write it kind of up in here where we're kind of going to do the numerator. So that's 50,000, good. Plus, got to get the foreman. Foreman is also indirect labor, isn't it? But they're just calling it out separately here. 75,000, good. How about these maintenance people? Okay, good. Got to pick that up. 125, right? They run around from machine to machine. Okay, so we can't really trace them directly to any one job. Good. How about the depreciation? Nice. Got to pick that up. How about the property taxes? Good. Got to get that. Okay. Okay, nice. So you add all those together, and we get what? This. What do we get, everybody? 335,000? Okay, good. 335,000. Does that give you the 1340 they're saying is the answer? Right, everybody? 1340? Okay, good. Nice job. Answer is A. Good. What's your name? Legivar?
Yes.
Good job, Legivar. Thank you. Okay. Make sure you're signing in, guys. Where's the sign-in sheet? It's going around? Okay, make sure you sign in because I'm going to be sending a note to people that didn't come in telling them, hey, guys, I'm going to drop you if you miss another class. You don't want that note if you were here, right? Okay, so make sure you sign in. Okay? Okay, good. Now we're going to do this 28 through 31. And with 28 through 31, you had to sit here and see the different T accounts for the different accounts that we're using for our, accounting for our managerial accounting. Raw materials, work in progress, finished goods, manufacturing overhead, cost of goods sold, right? So this wasn't so much testing your ability to use a calculator as it was sitting here and seeing if you could read these T accounts as the different amounts came through, right? Okay. So who from this back table wants to try this one? This first one. And not my A's brethren again. What's your name? Huh? Tori? Tara? Why don't you come on up, Tara, and try this one, okay? Everybody gets a chance, okay, to show off what they know. Okay, so we're asking for the cost of goods manufactured here. Clearly, you can see the answer is 506,000, but why don't you show me how you would know that from looking at those T accounts? It's the amount that's in work in progress, so circle that, 506,000. And where's it going? It goes to finished goods, and by definition, we have called that what? Cost of goods manufactured, right? That's so unexciting, you have to do one more, don't you? Okay, so why don't you go ahead and take a look at this number 29 now, right? We just did 28? 29, the total manufacturing cost for the period. How are you going to get that one? Total manufacturing costs. What are our manufacturing costs? There's three of them. Good. Direct materials, labor, and overhead. And where do we put those? Well, eventually everything ends up in cost of goods sold sooner or later. But when we incur them, where do we put them? Where do we start? Where do we start at the finish? Where do we start? We start with work in progress, don't we? Okay. So when you're looking at the work in progress, you can see it had a beginning balance of 6,000, didn't it? And then we added some things to it, right? See those three things we added? I'm thinking that's probably my materials, my labor, and my manufacturing overhead, right? So I take a look at that manufacturing overhead applied. Do you see that? Show me the manufacturing overhead applied. Can you show me the manufacturing overhead applied in this screenshot that you have here right now? Huh? Tip, manufacturing overhead. That's your tip. Show me the applied. Okay, we debit the what? Work in progress. We credit manufacturing overhead applied, don't we? When we apply it? Okay, so if we credited the applied, you see the debit to that uses that same letter E? Yeah. Okay, so why don't you circle the manufacturing overhead applied in the work in progress, circle it in the manufacturing overhead, the credit. Okay. Okay, good. Can you give me the journal entry for that? Can you write the journal entry in general journal form? Debit work in progress, 192,000. So just write WIP right here, WIP. Okay, good. No. I want it in general journal form. So just write WIP and then write 192,500 next to it. Okay, good. And then credit, so you're going to indent it a little bit to the right. Manufacturing overhead, 192,500. Good. Right? And all we're seeing there on the left is the posting to those, right? Okay. So you see your overhead. What are our three things that get added to work in progress? Our direct labor, our direct materials, our manufacturing overhead, right? So I'm looking at that 161. Go back up to the raw materials a little bit. Scroll back up to raw materials a little bit. And you see raw materials, they credited it for 252. See they credit it for 252? And you see how there's a B next to that? Okay, so 252, some of that B went to work in progress. Some of it went to, and if you look at your manufacturing overhead down there, some of it went to what? Some of it went to my manufacturing overhead, right? So the what? The 161 must be the direct materials. The 91 must be the indirect materials, right? Okay, and the only other possible thing that could be here, even though they're not showing me where it came from, must be my what? Must be my labor, right? This C, this 154. Okay, and so if I have the 161 now we agree is materials, 154 we agree is the labor, and the 192 is the manufacturing overhead that has been applied for the period. Can you tell me what the total manufacturing costs are? Manufacturing costs, the amounts that are added to work in progress, are what? Three things.
Labor, direct materials, and manufacturing.
Okay, so you should be able to add those up and get the answer, right? Okay, so go ahead and write those off to the side. The 161,000 plus the 154 plus the 192,500 is how much, everybody? $507,000? 507,500? Okay, good. All right, so come down. Is that what we were looking for? We say here that what the total manufacturing costs for number 29 here are what? Labor, materials, and overhead, right? Okay. Okay, good. You can go ahead and bubble that in. Let's give you a little bit of positive reinforcement. Okay, good. Good job, Tara. Thanks. Okay, so what happens? You sit here, guys, and the theme now should be getting very redundant for you, right? Every single time it's what? It's how do we put together our flow of our costs through our accounting system. Raw materials, some goes to what? Some goes to work in progress, some goes to our overhead, right? Then what? For the indirect, then what? Then we have our labor, some's going to go to the work in progress, some's going to go to the overhead account, the actual, right? Then we have our overhead, which is going to be applied to the work in progress, credited to the overhead. Then what? Then as we finish the items, we take them out of work in progress, put them to finished goods. Out of finished goods, we go to what? Cost of goods sold. What do we call that? The amount that goes out of work in progress and into finished goods, what do we call that? Cost of goods manufactured, right? Okay, good. The amounts that we add to work in progress are called what? Manufacturing costs for the period, right? Out of finished goods into my cost of goods sold is my, cost of goods sold, right? I mean, that's it. If you sit here and you kind of make much more out of this, I don't know what you're doing, because there's nothing more to it than that. You're using your imagination, which is never a good thing in accounting. Don't use your imagination. If you use your imagination, you're going to do what? You're going to mess up. Okay? Okay, now, this I think I marked wrong. The cost of jobs completed for the period, and again, I must not have been paying very close attention to what I was doing. The cost of jobs completed for the period is not the $500,000 that came out of finished goods and went into cost of goods sold. That's not correct. We call that what? Amount that goes out of finished goods and the amount that goes out of cost of goods sold. And how do I get rid of this? Hit back? No. Now I'm really messed up. I don't know how to get out of this. Clear page. No. How do I get out of this? think it's just going to take me right back to that stupid thing. No, okay. Stop coming up, you stupid thing. Okay, so what's happening going on here? I don't like this one because what? The amount that goes out of finished goods and into cost of goods sold is called what? Cost of goods sold. The cost of the goods that were finished for the period is what? Cost of the items were finished for the period is the amount that came out of work in progress and went into what? Went into finished goods. That's what got finished for the period is the 506, right? So it's just another way of asking you what is the cost of goods manufactured, saying what was the cost of the items finished for the period. And when I looked at that problem, I thought it was asking me the cost of goods sold. If it asked me the cost of goods finished for the period, the answer there should be 506. So the real answer here is what? The 506 is D, not A. Okay, when I read that, I read for some reason in my mind I saw cost of goods sold instead of what? The goods finished for the period. Okay, and then the applied manufacturing overhead is going to be the 192,500 like Tara was showing us here. Right? Okay. Okay, how about the under or over applied? Who wants to do that one? Under or over applied? What's your name, sir? I didn't realize we have another shutout table over here. Yeah. Hi, Julian? You want to do this one? Okay. Oh, no, Jarno already went from your table. So it's not, please don't fall. It's not a complete shutout. Okay. All right. So we're trying to figure out if we have under or over applied. What do you think?
It's going to be under applied.
We're saying it's under applied because what? Just show me on the actual account here. You can write what goes on this side.
That's the actual.
Good.
On the left side. And the applied is on the right side.
And the applied is over here. So before we fix this by what? Bringing that to cost of goods sold? Just go ahead and draw an arrow coming down from that 2,500 on the under applied side. That H, yeah. And it what got closed out to cost of goods sold, right, Omar? Huh? Caught you in a moment praying to the accounting gods. Okay, so what do we got here? Huh? We've got this what? We've got this 2,500, right? And we had under applied the overhead, so we put it in the cost of goods sold, didn't we? Right? Okay, I always ask you that question, right? That's your favorite question. Okay, and so we had an under applied, didn't we? We put it in cost of goods sold. Okay, so you can go back to that question down there, whatever number it was. Number what? 31? Okay, so it's under applied? Okay, good. Why don't you bubble that in for us? Okay, nice. Good job. Thank you. Okay. I'm going to skip this one for now. We will probably do this one next time. I don't care for this question, but I want to go through it with you next time. I want us to keep us on a good pace here. I don't want to call somebody up to do this one. I'll go over it with you next time. I don't care for that question, but we're stuck with it to a certain extent. Who wants to do this one? Who hasn't gone yet? Okay. Why don't you do this one? You can do the next one, okay? What's your name, sir?
Willie.
Huh?
Willie.
Willie? Okay, Willie, come on up. Mustang Corporation. And we're trying to figure out our cost of goods sold here, aren't we? Okay, good. So you're going to analyze what? Finished goods? You want to use that BASE thing to do it? You can write the E below that line.
This one?
Yeah, just put, you can put it there, yeah. There you go. Okay, perfect. All right, so what happens? How do you want to start?
So beginning inventory, April 1st is 30,200.
Okay, so you can go ahead and write that in, right? Okay, good.
Then add in the total cost of total cost of goods manufactured, which is 114,500.
Okay, what are we looking for here? We're looking for the cost of goods sold, right? Okay, you're okay. Don't worry. You can just leave that stray mark there. Don't worry about it. Don't worry. So we're looking for our cost of goods sold. So you're putting in the add here. We're looking for the subtract though, right?
The subtract is the finished goods, the ending goods, which is 24,600.
Wait a minute. The ending balance is 24, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so go ahead and put in the ending balance.
Don't we subtract 24,600?
No.
No?
No, because we're trying to get the subtract. The subtract from finished goods is cost of goods sold, right?
Okay.
So we got to get the subtract here. So go ahead and put in the ending inventory balance down there, 24,600. Don't worry, you won't mess up the pen.
No, I just scribbled all over the place.
Oh, that's all right. Don't worry about it. Sometimes I scribble on them just because I get mad at them. Okay, so that's 24,600. Okay, now take that 30,200 plus 114,500. How much is that, guys? Okay, 144,700. Put subtotal. Put a little in little letters subtotal right underneath that A. Right where the A is. Where the A is. Right underneath it.
This A?
Yeah, that A. You see another A up there? Okay, so subtotal. Okay, all right, good. And that's 144,700. Go ahead. You don't have to line it up. Just write it there. 144,700 is the total of the beginning plus the what? Plus the ads. Those are the amounts our cost of goods manufactured. Yeah, our cost, our
Cost of goods manufactured.
not that's what they're asking us here. That was our manufacturing cost. Cost of goods manufactured. Okay, what am I doing to you here? Yeah, that's the cost of goods manufactured. That's the ads, right? The amounts that went out of my work in progress and into my finished goods. And then I subtract out my cost of goods sold, don't I?
Yeah.
Okay, so how do I get from 144,700 down to 24,600? I must have had to subtract it out, right?
Yeah.
So I take the 144,700, so you can write that right here, right down here, 144,700. Minus the 24,600, right? And that difference is what? 120,100. Right? So write that in next to the subtract, next to the S up there. 120,000. 700. Yeah, I'm sorry, you're right, 100. Okay, so what happens? I started out with a beginning balance in my finished goods of 30,000, right? I had the cost of goods manufactured, got transferred out of work in progress into finished goods. That's the add here, isn't it? And so now I had a total available of 144,700. That's your subtotal. And then I had to subtract something, which is my cost of goods sold, is to subtract from finished goods to get to this 24,600. That's why you did that side calculation over there, right? And when you did that, you were able to answer the question, right? It was my cost of goods sold?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, good. Nice job. Thank you. What's your name again?
William.
William? Okay. All right, good job, William. Okay, so what's going to happen, guys? that is going to be quite a few of the questions we're going to see coming up where you're going to have to understand the relationship between the accounts and be able to back into some number like the cost of goods sold or whatever it is that relates to accounts. So remember the steps are figure out what account you're analyzing and then what? Then you should be able to sit there and back into whatever they're asking you. Okay? So with that, let's do another one. The amount of raw materials used in production. You want? Oh, that's right. You were going to do this one. Sorry. Okay. Come on up. What's your name? Beatrice. Yeah. Okay. Watch your step, please. The little trip wire is here. Okay. So we're asking you the amount of raw materials used in production. Beatrice, what is that? Is that the add, the subtract to raw materials? That's a subtract. Good. So you want to go ahead and set that up for us? Raw materials. Put raw materials as a heading. And then go ahead and do our little BASE trip. Okay, good. And so now you just turn this question into fill in the blank, don't you? Start to take what they give you. She's going to town. She's got the beginning. She's got the ads. She's got the ending balance. Isn't this exciting? Okay, now you're going to have to do some calculating for my subtotal. Good. Subtotal is going to be this 97,000, which you just took the 11,000 beginning balance plus the ads, right? Okay, good. So you got a subtotal of 97,000. Then what are you going to do? 97,000, and you do your little side calculation. Good, to take off the ending balance. That means that I must have what? If I had a 97,000 available and I ended up with 10,400, I must have used what? 86,600? Watch that wire. Very good. So the answer is E. You want to highlight that? Want to bubble that in? Good. Don't trip over that stupid wire. Thank you. Okay, good job, Beatrice. Thank you. Okay, you guys are doing a great job. We're making pretty good progress on this one. We're going to knock this test out pretty much today, right? And what time do we get out of here? 12:45. So we got plenty of time to get through, if not all of these, pretty much all of them. Any ones we don't finish this time, we'll do next time. And we'll have another test up there on Monday, right? So who wants to do this next one? Okay, I was staring at it. We'll get you on the next ones. Come on, so come on up. Okay. The singing dolls. I always find this question scary because I picture singing dolls. I don't know. Okay. All right, good. So what are we looking for here?
Over here we're looking for
Cost of goods manufactured?
Yeah.
So what account do you want to analyze for that?
Total factory overhead.
For the cost of goods manufactured?
Yeah.
Okay, try again. Cost of goods, what is the cost of goods manufactured? What is it? What is that defined as?
Is cost of goods sold is when you spend money for manufacturing.
Well, we spend money for manufacturing. That's my manufacturing cost. Cost of goods manufactured is the amount that I transfer out of work in progress into finished goods, right?
Yeah.
So we're looking for what? The subtract here?
No, adding.
Try again. I wouldn't lead you down the wrong road. What did I say? We're looking for the subtract here, right?
Yep.
Okay, I wasn't trying to throw a curveball on you as soon as I said that. Okay, so we're looking for what? We're looking for the subtract for work in progress, right?
Yeah.
So you want to analyze work in progress then?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead. Put WIP as so we know what account you're analyzing. Okay, and then put BASE. You can put that E below that string of numbers. That would not be below, that'd be on top of it. Put it below that string of numbers, the E.
E on a bottom.
So just go ahead, we can move this up a little bit. So you can just go ahead and put the E down here in between those two. Yeah, okay. Okay, good. All right, so now you have those. Can you give me the beginning balance for the work in progress?
Beginning balance is 50,000.
Good, right in the 50,000. Okay, good. Can you tell me the ending balance?
37,000.
Okay, good. Put in the ending balance. Next to the E is the ending balance. Okay, good. Now the adds to work in progress are what? Look at me. What are the adds to work in progress? What? No, right here. What things do we add to work in progress?
Total cost
What are the thing? What are the? List me the items.
is factory overhead,
Good.
then direct material,
Good.
then labors,
Huh?
direct labor.
Finished overhead and materials, right? You said it? Okay, good. Did this problem give you that?
No.
Well, look. Why are you looking up there? It's right there. They give you the overhead, they give you the direct materials, they give you the direct labor, don't they?
Yeah.
Okay, so all we have to do is add those three numbers together, don't we?
Yeah.
And that's the add? Okay. All right, so go ahead. So write those three numbers. 5,500. That's the overhead. Good. That's fine. No, that's fine. 5,500 plus what? Good. Fine. Plus 26,500. Good. You add those three numbers up. What do we get? 44,500. My designated calculator manner. Okay. Okay, 44,500. So we add those to work in progress, don't we? So go ahead and add that, 44,500. Okay, good. And then we have this 44,500, and so we want a subtotal, don't we? And I like the way Beatrice did the subtotal off to the side. Well, I don't know if I like that or not because I kind of like to see it there so I can see the relationship to the ending balance. So maybe it is better to just go ahead and squeeze in my subtotal there between the A and the S. That subtotal is what? Even I can do that one in my head, is 94,500. So if you add that beginning plus the adds for the period, right, that's 94,500?
Yes.
So go ahead and put that number in. Just kind of squeeze it in there. 94,500 as my subtotal.
Oh,
Yeah, that's not looking good. Okay, there it's come back. 94,500?
Yeah.
Okay, good. So that's the subtotal?
Yes.
So how do you get from 94,500 to 37,000? You must have to subtract some amount, right?
Yeah, we can subtract.
Okay, so now you can do a little side calculation. 94,500 minus what? 37,000?
Yeah.
Okay. And that gives me what? 57,500? Write it in. 57,500. That's the cost of goods manufactured that got what? Out of finished good, out of work in progress, I should say, and into finished goods, right?
Yes.
So you can go ahead and write that in as a subtract too. Write it in minus 5,700 right here. Minus, not right there, right there. Just put it as the subtract, minus 5,700. Okay. All right, good. Okay, don't trip over the wire. Good job.
Yep.
What's your name again?
Kausal.
Huh?
Kausal.
Kolsa? Good job. Okay. Okay, it's pretty much the same thing every time, guys, isn't it? Okay, we're just going to sit here, and the steps are, you might want to write this down. Here, I'll write it down on the board. The steps are to do what? One, for these kind of problems anyway. I think it's maybe just what, 2 steps? One, know what account you are analyzing. That says know what account you are analyzing. Number one, know what account you're analyzing. Number one is what? Just write down what I'm saying. Know what account you're analyzing, right? 2, identify the missing item. How do you identify the missing item? That is usually the call of the question, isn't it? We call that the call of the question. Call of the question was like on that last one when they say, what's the cost of goods manufactured? In the business, we call that the what? Call of the question. In the teaching business, we call that the call of the question. So what is the missing item? It's usually the call of the question, And then 3 is what? Solve for the missing item. Using, and I like to do it using that base mnemonic, right? So for every single one of these questions, guys, if you follow this process, what is the account I'm analyzing? What is the missing item, which is what they're asking me for in these questions, the call of the question, and then I use the BASE to solve for the missing item, right? If I do that every single time, I should be able to answer these questions, okay? So let's do it. Let's try it. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do this one myself, okay? So they tell me, and I guess I've gone out of order now because I'm going to find out what the missing item is first. Maybe I have to do that first. So they're what? Asking me for the manufacturing cost for the period? Okay, and of course, as soon as I say that, here comes a question where I don't have to use that methodology because they're asking me the manufacturing cost for the period, and I'm sitting here, and my manufacturing costs, this is just a definition, isn't it? What are my manufacturing costs? Is materials my manufacturing costs? Yes, it is. Is labor? Yes, it is. Is overhead? Okay, good. And so that gives me what? The 17,100? Just adding them up. Hello? Okay. Plus 5,100. Okay, good. Now let me see here. Could I ask you here the cost of goods manufactured? Could I give you the same exact problem, say on your test, and ask you the cost of goods manufactured? Oh, is it? Oh, okay, good. Thank you. Same numbers? Okay. So I guess I could ask you that because here it is, right? Okay. Okay, good. So how am I going to answer this one? I'm looking for the cost of goods manufactured, so I have to know. So maybe I should flip items 2 and 1 up here. First, you figure out what you're looking for, right? Then then you figure out what account you need to analyze. What account am I going to analyze for the cost of goods manufactured? Work in progress has to be analyzed, doesn't it? So I go ahead and I analyze the work in progress using what? BASE. And I seem to always have a problem finding space for my E here. Okay? And so now I just use the ninja approach and take what the question gives me. Does it tell me the beginning work in progress? Tell me the beginning work in progress is what? 3,000. Does it tell me the ending work in progress is what? 4,000? Okay. They're asking me what? Cost of goods manufactured. So this is the missing item, isn't it? Okay. And so I come up, and we already calculated in the previous problem that the ads for the period are what? 17,100? Right? We picked up our direct materials, our direct labor, our factory overhead of 5,100. So those are our ads. Same numbers over here, right? So what's that? 17,100? Hello? Okay. So now my subtotal is how much? 20,100. And then I'm going to go over and do my little side calculation. 20,100 minus my ending balance of 4,000 means I must have subtracted what? 16,100 from my total available to come up with what? An ending balance that was given to me of 4,000? Is that the answer? Okay. Same thing every time, guys. At some point, you should be doing these in your sleep. When you sleep at night, you should go, analyze work in progress. Beginning balance. Right? Okay. All right, good. Who wants to do this one? You had volunteered a minute ago, right? So I'll come up and do this one. Number 38. This one's really too easy for you, isn't it? Huh? So we'll let you do the next one too. Okay? But for this one now, they're just asking me to come up with what? The manufacturing cost? Don't overthink it. They're just asking me for manufacturing costs, right? Which are direct materials. Good. Direct labors. Good. Direct labor. Good. Factory overhead. Isn't that my manufacturing cost? $98,600. So if I put a question like this on the test, that's a little insulting, isn't it?
Yeah.
A little bit, right? It's like, what do you think? I'm playing with kids over here? Come on now. Give me something. Come on. Okay, go ahead and do the next one. See how the next one turns out for you. Number 39, huh? You scroll with the. I use the mouse. You could probably do it off the screen, but I find that a little cumbersome. Okay. Okay.
You do your base.
Well, what are we looking for?
Your cost of goods manufactured.
Okay, good. Cost of goods manufactured by definition is what?
Your beginning, or it's your subtract.
It's the amount that gets transferred out of work in progress and into finished goods, right?
Yeah.
Okay, good. So what account are you going to analyze here? Work in progress, and I'm going to look for, solve for the missing item using base, which is the subtract here, right?
Yep.
Okay, so go ahead and give me BASE. Okay. You can write that E on the next page if you want, the top of the next page. That's fine either way. Okay. All right, good.
Whatever makes you happy, man.
Huh?
Whatever makes you happy.
Yeah, okay. That makes me happy. One time I had this boss that was a really hard guy to work for, and I was running the job, and one of the staff went ahead and just called the guy and was handling something without keeping me in the loop. So I said, hey, how come you didn't tell me what you were doing? And the guy goes, hey, I'm just keeping him happy. And I thought to myself, you know what? Good point. Keep doing that. Keep him happy. That keeps him away from me. Okay. So it's good to keep certain people happy, right? Okay. All right, good. So what happened? Where'd you get them ads, man? You didn't tell me where you got them ads.
That's from the last question.
From the previous problem. Okay, good. Why don't you draw an arrow down from that 98,600 you got up there and draw it down to the ad down there? Draw the arrow on the other side. No, I'm just messing with you. Okay. All right, so you got that 98,600 is the ad. And now can you give me the, you're doing the little side calculation, right? For the subtract when I interrupted you. Somebody want to help the man? Me either. That's why God created calculators. What's that number, guys? 98,000? Okay. All right, that's fine. So that's the subtract, isn't it?
Yep.
Okay, good. So go ahead and plug that in so we can just see it all there in its full glory again on the base mnemonic, 98,000. Okay, good. Is that the answer?
Yeah.
Scroll down so you can see it. There you go. Beautiful. Go ahead and bubble that in to give yourself the positive feeling. Good. Nice job. Don't
You have
trip.
to sign on the attendance?
Huh?
You sign on the attendance?
The attendance went around. Is it still going? Did it stall? Can somebody please pass the attendance sheet up if you haven't signed it? If you signed it? Okay, good. Good job. Okay. Who wants to try one? Okay, I tell you what we're going to do. We're going to stop at this number 40. Okay, we will pick up and finish 40. I'm going to go back to that weird one that I'm just going to show you how it's done because it's a little bit weird. And then I'm going to be putting up and be looking, again, Sundays pretty much when I'm getting those up there. So be looking Sunday afternoon for another round of questions that will probably be now a little bit more from chapters, 3, where we talked about process costing, chapter 4, where we talked about activity-based costing, and chapter 5, where we talked about cost, volume, profit analysis. Okay, so you'll start to see more an emphasis towards those questions. And again, it's going to be just like this, guys. So your best bet is to spend some time Sunday afternoon, Sunday evening, going through this set of questions so you can come up and help us to work them. And we're just going to keep doing this, all right? Okay, guys, I will see you on Monday. Have a good weekend. Please make sure you signed in.
Is actual midterm? Can you do like use these numbers from the previous question or like 3 or 4 questions for one set of numbers?
Not quite to the extent.